Influencers drive $30 billion a year in sales. Paid advertising generates $800 billion a year. But there's one way to grow a business to $10 million per year or more that nobody talks about. It doesn't require spending more on ads. It doesn't require begging influencers to promote your business, and it's immune to AI disruption. It's the secret to some of the biggest companies in the world, such as Apple, Coca-Cola, Amazon's cloud computing division called AWS, and even the world's biggest multi-billion-dollar consulting companies. It's also the secret that I've used to grow two businesses in completely different markets, selling completely different types of products to over $200 million in sales each. Once you learn the most underrated way to grow a business to $10 million or more, you'll never build a business the same way again. To understand how this works and why it's so powerful, you must first understand the reality of today's marketing world. To scale a business today to $10 million, you need three things. First, you need traffic. You need some way of getting in front of potential buyers. Second, you need conversion, or a way to convince those people that you attract through different traffic platforms to actually buy something from you. And third, you need customer value. Once they buy something from you, how much is that customer worth to you? Now, there's only one of these that really matters today because the other two are completely commoditized, and we're going to discuss those right now. Let's start with traffic. The biggest ad platform changes over time. 100 years ago, it was newspapers. 50 years ago, it was television. 10 years ago, that's when the internet took over. And today, there's really a triopoly of advertising platforms that dominate everything. There's Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. There's Google, Amazon, and then you can also add possibly TikTok as a number 4. But really, Meta, which includes Facebook and Instagram, Google and Amazon, those are the big ones today. However, there's something you may not realize about two of those. Google and Amazon are primarily demand capture platforms for most brands. That means these brands are building awareness somewhere else, and then customers, once they already know who the brands are going and searching for those brands on Google or buying through Google Shopping, or they're going and searching and buying those products through Amazon. The biggest demand generation platform that helps people know these brands even exist in the first place, including my own, is Meta, which once again includes Facebook and Instagram. Almost every big brand today, 8-figure brand, 9-figure brands, and even billion-dollar companies generate demand through Meta first, and then capture search traffic through Google and Amazon. This means traffic is really commoditized because everyone gets traffic from the same exact place. And even how it works is a level playing field for everybody because Facebook charges per 1,000 impressions, also known as a CPM. And here's something crazy. In the last 7 days, for our e-commerce business selling bags of coffee, our cost per 1,000 impressions on Meta was somewhere around $20 to $40. In the same exact time period, the ads for my personal e-commerce training newsletter, completely different market, completely different kind of product, it's 100% free, were also $20 to $40. That means everyone, because the whole platform is based on an auction system, pays about the same amount, and everyone gets traffic in the exact same way. And today, you can go into a website called Facebook Ad Library and see all the ads everyone's running. That means you can get traffic from the exact same place as any brand out there, and you can even get traffic in the exact same way because you can just model your ads off of them. Then you can click on their ads, and you can see their landing pages or sales pages. So you can get traffic the same places, you pay about the same price, you can use the exact same ads as them because you can model theirs using Facebook Ad Library, and you can also model their landing pages because you can find those through Facebook Ad Library as well. So what does all this mean? It means everyone pays exactly the same, has the same ads, has the same landing pages. That means the whole goal of winning is to be able to afford the highest advertising cost possible, which increases every single year. So that brings us to ingredient number 2 of scaling, conversion. Now, back in the day with infomercials or on-the-ground sales teams behind an office, if you went into a local business, you'd really have to act like a customer if you wanted to spy on that business as a competitor and figure out what are they doing? What are they saying to customers? What are they telling them on the phone? What offers are they making? But now it's all out in the public because everyone gets traffic through Meta and all that information is open and available for you. And that's why everyone's landing pages and ads tend to look the same because those are what works the best and everyone can copy everyone else. People run typically what's called a listicle style landing page, and that means the second ingredient, traffic, has been commoditized and even conversion has been commoditized because it's all out in the open. So what does that really leave us with? It leaves us with the third ingredient, which is customer value. Because if you pay the same price and have the same looking page as everyone else, that's the only thing that's left. Customer value is how much each customer is worth in terms of profit to your business over their entire life as a customer. Basically, how much money you're going to make off an average customer over all the time period they'll ever buy something from you. Strategically choosing which business to get into, what product to sell, and how to sell it to maximize customer value is the secret to scaling to $10 million and more. Your goal is to be able to make more per customer than everyone else you're out there competing with, and even people that are not directly in your market, because everyone's advertising on the same platform. And there's really two good models to use this strategy and to be able to scale to $10 million plus. And there's also one way to mix these models together that you've likely never heard of before, which we're going to talk about now. So the first model, the right kind of product, which is really an overall business strategy, is consumable products. Good examples of consumable products, also known as repeat purchase products, are Groons, which is a vitamin gummy business, Athletic Greens or AG1, which sells a powdered supplement, Instant Hydration, which sells a electrolyte product, and even our business, Life Boost Coffee, that sells coffee. All these business people consume the products on a regular basis, so you get a high lifetime value from those customers because they may not buy a lot up front, but they keep buying again and again and again. Now, a bad example is a product that we launched a few years ago called Everlow Drops. It's basically a mineral drop that you can put in your coffee to remineralize any coffee, but we sell it with ours as well. The problem with this is it's a good product, but it lasts too freaking long. I was telling my business partner, is this product, it's this tiny little bottle, but you only need to put a few drops in every cup of coffee, and this bottle never runs out. And so it's not the best product because even though it can be a high quality product, people don't consume it fast enough. The pros to selling a consumable product is you get subscription revenue, which gives you consistency and predictability. You get a high lifetime value, and you can make money every single month or every quarter as people are getting automatically rebilled. The big con to consumables that people don't talk about enough is even if you have a high lifetime value because people buy the product again and again, you can still burn cash. If you have a good lifetime value, but you likely don't make all your money up front, you may take 1 to 2 years to realize, 90% plus of that lifetime value. So if you're acquiring customers and you're like, oh yeah, we're for sure going to make money long term, but in the short term, you're not getting enough of those repeat purchases yet to be able to cover the cost of acquiring customers, you could be burning cash every single day, even though you're intelligently growing your business. That's the big problem with this model. It's still a great model, and obviously I'm a proponent of it because this is how we've built our business. So it's still a great model, but there is one way to fix this that nobody talks about, which we'll talk about in just a second. First, though, let's go on to the second model, high ticket one-time purchase. An example of this, the first business I built to over $200 million in sales was a company called Amazing.com selling primarily a product called Amazing Selling Machine. It was a big e-commerce business education program. And so we sold a ton of this thing. And so that business, we basically didn't have a great way to sell people stuff after they bought that program because we basically gave everything you could ever possibly need in that upfront program. That meant we had to make all of our cash up front, and it worked fantastically. I've got a buddy in the e-commerce market who sells a survival product. This survival product is pretty much only something you'd ever need if the world is ending, there's some nuclear war, some environmental disaster, or something like that. So you're probably never going to need this product, and most customers will never actually have to use it. So this kind of product doesn't lend itself well to subscription. But what he has to do in that business is sell it at a high margin price up front because he may never be able to sell them another one of that kind of product up front. But the business works great. He generates a ton of cash flow. This is also a similar model to what Yeti did. Somebody buys, $400 or $500 cooler from them. They may buy some accessories and whatnot, but that cooler is going to last forever. They don't have to buy multiple of those in most cases. And so they also have to make a lot of money up front. Now, bad example of this is we sold a Facebook ads course at one point specifically for e-commerce. The problem with that was it was too niche. If you're the narrower the niche you go into, if you're selling a one-time purchase product, the higher the margin you need to sell, because you're never going to make any money off of those people again, unless you have some service, back end, subscription, that kind of thing. The big lesson here is the more niche, the more you have to charge, because there's only so many customers available to you, and they're likely not going to keep buying from you in the future. So really the worst business to enter is selling a niche product with low prices. If you're going to sell in a narrow niche, you need high prices and high margins. Now, the pro to selling a high margin one-time purchase product is you make a lot of cash up front. We generated a ton of cash when we were running Amazing Selling Machine. These other businesses I mentioned generate a ton of cash up front, and you've got to be smart with that, because that whole business is based on getting new customers to keep buying from you. So you have to keep hunting down new customers, because all the past customers don't necessarily have to buy from you again. But as soon as something breaks, or as soon as you stop being able to acquire as many new customers, your cash flow can start drying up. So you can generate a lot of cash, but you have to be smart with how you manage that cash, because you don't have the predictability of revenue like in a consumable business, which is really the biggest con to this business, but can still be an absolutely great way, a great business to run. I mean, think about Ferrari. They sell billions of dollars a year, and most people are not buying multiple at a time, or multiple at any short period of time, if ever. And so they have to make all of their profit up front, and they make about $100,000 per product or per car that they sell, and that business can work totally fine. Now, there is one third way to combine a couple of these models, and this has really been our secret to scaling to $50 million plus per year in sales in our most recent e-commerce business, is you get customers to buy more upfront, and then you sell the subscription on the back end. Because like I said, if you have a consumable product and you're getting a lot of people to buy it, you may have a high customer value over, say, 2 years, but you can still be burning cash up front. There's a way you can flip that, which is what we've done. In most cases, we sell customers multiple bags up front on a one-time purchase, because it's easier to sell people when they're not signing up for subscription, so our conversion rate is higher. So we'll sell multiple bags up front, so we generate a lot of cash up front that allows us to cover the cost of our ads. We're not burning cash on day one. And then after that, for their second, third, fourth, fifth purchase, we're pushing them on a subscription. So we're not getting all those subscriptions up front, but we're getting our cash back up front, and then we're basically getting customers for free that we can sell to on subscription on the back end. So that hybrid model has worked fantastically for us. So what really matters to scale to $10 million plus? You need a high customer value. Now, this doesn't really matter if it comes from subscription or selling a really high margin product. All that matters is how much you make over the life of a typical customer. That's what allows you to compete with everyone else advertising on the biggest advertising platform for demand generation right now, which is meta advertising. One tool you can use to figure this out, and it's a tool you should implement in your business. In Shopify, for example, it's very easy, but you can also do it manually. It's called a cohort analysis. A cohort analysis is a fancy term that basically means you take a cohort or a group of customers that bought in a certain time period and just track those customers and how much and how often did they keep buying from you in the future. Say, for example, if you took all the customers who bought from you for the first time January of this year, then you track those customers for every month into the future. For example, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and 3 years, which is what I recommend. Just look at those customers and did they come back and buy? How much did they buy? How many times did they buy? And when you look at all of that data for those customers and say they generated a total of $100,000 in revenue over that time period, and there were 100 of them, that means on average, they bought $1,000 each worth of stuff. And that's whatever time period you're looking at, say 3 years, that means you have $1,000 3-year lifetime value. And so that's incredibly important for you to know. So most of these numbers are going to be smaller for us if you're in e-commerce and that kind of thing. Same approach applies. In Shopify, this is a report. You can just search for cohort and you'll find that report in there, but you can run this for any kind of business. It doesn't matter. You take a group of customers and then you track those customers in your CRM or whatever platform you're using. Look at them every single month. How much are those specific customers buying? And that allows you to get a 3-month lifetime value, a 6-month lifetime value, a 1-year lifetime value, and a 3-year lifetime value. Then if you take some measurement of how much profit they're generating, for us, we get about a 50% gross margin. So if we get a couple $100 over the first year in revenue, that means we get about $100 in gross profit. That means if we want to break even in 1 year, then we need to acquire customers for $100 or less. That's the metric you really want to figure out. You want to keep increasing your lifetime value so you can keep spending more to acquire customers. And that's what really allows you to scale. And that's how you can scale your business to $10 million plus. So to get the exact strategies to scale a business from $0 to $1 million and $1 million to $10 million plus, while removing yourself from 80% of day-to-day operations, subscribe to my channel and watch this video next.